The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
It's now time for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. You can also watch live on the WBVP-WMBA Facebook page. Here is your host, Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the same part of his studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garris-Dunas. He's ready to take your calls at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. Also, make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing, replacement windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is your one-stop shop for all of your exterior modeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. You know, Ryan, that lady, the disclaimer lady voice, I feel like... Did you ever see like a cartoon or a movie where there's like the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder? I feel like she's the angel and she's saying like, don't listen to this guy. He's the devil.
Okay. I can dig. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well.
Good.
This just in, everyone. Obviously, you probably listened to the game here on Beaver County Radio 99.3, but Bryan Reynolds hits a, what was there, 2 outs?
2 outs.
A solo shot, 407 feet, I believe, in a 0-0 game. David Bednar comes in and actually gets a 1-2-3, which everybody's surprised. 17 games in a row, Bryan Reynolds has gotten a hit.
Yes.
And 15 saves in a row for David Bednar.
Is that real? Really?
Yes, it is. 15 in a row after that horrific start.
So what does he have altogether, do you know?
I'm guessing 15. No, it's probably like a couple over that. I think he had like 1 or 2 in the middle blowing a bunch. So we'll have to double check that at a break. But yeah, the Pirates win. That gets the Pittsburgh Pirates up to 36-38. They've been flirting with 500 for how many weeks now? Like 3-4 weeks now. They've been just flirting with 500. Every time it seems like they get there, they lose a couple in a row.
It's always tough. I always say that if you dig yourself too big of a hole in baseball, it's so tough to get back in. And there's a lot of moving wheels, Bryan, that you're constantly up against. You're up against teams. You're up against other teams. Teams that are behind you. There's teams that are on the other side of the National League. There's a lot that has to go into coming back. That's why I've already thrown out the window the chance that they could come back and win the division. They're what, eight out of first place.
The Brewers are 43-30. Yeah,
you're not going to get back to first place. The Pirates, they're just not going to do it. Fight for them wild card spots. I think that's where it's at for the buck goes.
All right. Speaking of that, real quick, we played the Reds.
Yes.
Now think about this: you play the Reds, and you give up 3 runs in 3 games to the Reds. How many do you think you should win?
You should have won all 3.
Right.
Absolutely.
And they gave up a game because they just can't score runs. Our pitching staff, I would put up against the highest payroll pitching staff right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're probably a little weaker at the end of our starting rotation just because of injuries and our budget, obviously. But, I mean, our top 3-4 guys and then our 3 closers, and you've got Ortiz in the bullpen too. I mean, it's very strong, and they give up 3 runs in 3 games. And we win 2 out of 3.
And you look at the last 2. The only runs that we scored were home runs. Yesterday we got the 1 run by a Brian Hayes homer, and today it was a Bryan Reynolds home run. So
now Reynolds had 2 doubles yesterday. Did you watch the game? Because I did not see yesterday's game.
I seen it off and on.
Why didn't he score? Isn't he like on with like 1 out, no outs?
Yeah, I don't recall.
You get the second, and then it's just stranded there.
Right.
You know, it's now. I don't know if you remember the exact statistics, but Rowdy Tellez is batting very well this month. I mean, Absolutely. Isn't it in the 400s?
He is in the about 419, I think.
Okay. Andrew McCutchen is also in the high 300s, I want to say, for this month.
This month, Between Rowdy Tellez, Andrew McCutchen, and Bryan Reynolds, those three guys are they're tearing the roof off.
And everybody else, well, I guess Nick Gonzalez, he's been 0 for the last couple of games, but other than that, he's been playing well.
Yeah.
Connor Joe is batting like 119 for this month.
Yeah.
So as hot as he was to start off the season, he's cooled off. So what are we going to do here? There is the Phillies with 49 wins, the Braves with 41 wins. They're probably going to be locks for the playoffs. The Brewers have 43 wins and the Dodgers have 46 wins. They're likely locks. So those four teams out of 6 are going to make the playoffs.
I think everybody else it's those guys versus everybody else. I think those 4 teams that you just named will be your 4 teams that will be the 3 division winners and wild card one, more than likely the Braves at this point it would be. And then you have the Padres, you have the Giants, you have the Pirates, you have the Cardinals,
the Nationals, the Reds, the Cubs.
There's literally about 10 teams that could realistically take those 2 last spots.
Yeah, from the Cardinals down to the Cubs, the Cardinals are at 500. The Cubs are 4 games under 500.
Yeah.
And you have 8 teams somewhere in between there.
Yes. And you got to remember, too, St. Louis was had a very bad start to this season. They was in the basement for, I don't know, probably a half of the games they played so far. They just recently got hot, and that's one thing I do like about baseball. A lot of times, in all sports for that matter, you get hot at the right time. And I don't know if the Cardinals are doing a little prematurely, but I think that you get a little closer to that final run, and then you get hot. But they're a good example of what it looks like when a team gets hot. Brian, they were sitting in the basement for how long? Now they're in second place.
Yeah, we were making fun of them and happy about it.
Right, because you never see the Cardinals in that position.
Right. So the Pirates are in it. I don't know if they're going to do anything, though. Are they going to add a rental player?
I think they will. I think give it some time because, again, we have the All-Star break here in a little less than a month. We're finishing up. We have 9 games left in June. Let's see how this thing looks. Let's see how it looks in the beginning of July. Because if the All-Star break comes around and this team is still hanging in, Brian, they're a half game out of the wild card spot right now. Just last week, we were in the wild card spot. So if you're that close to the playoffs, you have to make moves. I really believe that, and I think they will.
I want to say the Phillies and the Diamondbacks both made the World Series being like the lowest seeds in the playoffs these last 2 years. So with our pitching staff, all you have to do is get there.
Yeah. You know what? That's it's gonna every week it's different. It's something different because 2 weeks ago it was like, you know what, you have to fix this bullpen. This bullpen is going to be the Achilles heel of this team. This is going to be what does them in. Well, now look, the bullpen is pitching full games and they're doing very well. You've got to get rid of Rowdy Tellez. This guy stinks. He's not doing anything. Well, he's been batting 400 in the month of June. So in baseball, it's so every day seems to be a different problem. But, what are you going to do? How are you going to fix this offense? Because you're going to need to hit the ball in the long run. You're going to have the pitching, more than likely. But what are you going to do to fix the offense?
Can Brian Hayes find that Altoona batting coach from last year and go back to him and see? I mean, the guy has I think 2 or 3 home runs this year. Why does he have no power?
I think he has 3. I don't know. That's a good question because sometimes he hits the cover off the ball.
Do you know who's leading the Pirates in home runs and on-base percentage?
I do. Oh.
And age.
Is it McCutchen?
Yes. He has 10 home runs.
Wow.
Yeah. He's leading them in RBIs, on-base percentage, and home runs. Cruz, I believe, has 9. I'm not sure. Reynolds is probably pretty close behind there. But I think they need a little more power because we are only scoring, it seems like, off of the long ball and
which is good if you're scoring runs in other ways as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? You like to get that long ball, but they have to figure out a happy medium, whether it's playing small ball, whether it's, bunt, get the guy around the bases. They have to have some kind of rhyme or reason to what they do in offense, and sometimes they just don't have any rhyme or reason, Brian.
Yeah, well, like we were talking about here, Bryan Reynolds with the only RBI today in the game. Pirates win 1-0. He's on a 17-game hitting streak, which brought his. Typically, if a guy's on a 17-game hitting streak, you're thinking he's batting about 350,
right?
And he's batting 274.
Yeah.
So that just shows you how bad he was before, or below mediocre. I'll say.
Right.
He wasn't awful, but McCutchen was awful. Tellez was awful. Now they're playing well. So 3 out of 9 bats are there, I guess.
And this catcher situation is getting a bit scary. I don't know if you saw the game last week.
Dude, we've had like 12 catchers. I don't even know who some of the guys are anymore.
Because we are down to DeLay and Grandel. And I don't know if you've seen the game last week where Grandel threw that ball in the right field. He went to the guy was stealing from first base. He threw the ball. It was so far to the right. It went out in right field.
I saw.
I mean, balls generally go to center field. And also, he was having trouble getting the ball back to the pitcher during that game. So,
didn't they steal home on us?
They
like
did.
it was like 9-year-old Little League?
Yes, they did. So, I think the catcher position is a bit of a concern at this point.
Didn't DeLay have a home run to win a game, though?
I know that he had a hit just, in the past few days, but I don't recall him.
I want to say so because I want to say Hannah Mears got to interview him and then they give like the water or Gatorade bath or whatever. And she's real good. Here's the thing, Hannah Mears. I know you're probably listening because you probably love the show.
Right.
We love you. We think you do an excellent job. But she doesn't give away that the Gatorade's coming.
I know.
She's not, last second, she takes a step back. She doesn't look over. She knows it's coming, and she does not give it away.
Yeah, no, she seems like she gets along well with the guys, and you know what? We like
she
her.
went on dates with all the guys. Did you ever see that? Whenever there's a rain delay, they show these interviews. She's in a pizza shop with different players. Telez is one of them. I always watch them. It looks like she's on a date with these guys.
Right.
So she's happily married, I would assume.
Right. Yeah, who knows?
Maybe she's not happily married.
Maybe not. But you know what? These catchers, though, Brian, you have Endy. He's supposed to be our number one. Rodriguez, we lost him immediately. He's been out for the season. And then, Henry Davis, he's out with concussion symptoms.
Yeah.
Joey Bart, who I thought was doing really well, he's still out with injuries. And if Grandell's having issues,
this is like inside linebacker for the Steelers.
It really is. So we're down to Jason, to delay. And, that's kind of worrisome. And it's just, we're so far into the season where this is still an issue.
Who do you think's, all right, we're going to get into this after the break. Not that we have to go to break yet, but I'll get at that question afterwards. But who do you think's having a better rookie season? Jared Jones, Paul Skeens, or Hannah Mears?
Is this her rookie season? She wasn't around last year?
I don't think she was around last season.
Okay. Well,
if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think I'm right.
Oh, they're all having pretty exceptional seasons,
right? Will she make the All-Star game?
You know what? She may be the Pirate representative.
Now, who was the guy that did it? He did a nice job. Her predecessor,
Mikowski, or was it?
I don't know. Robin
Mikowski.
Yeah, something like that.
believe.
Yeah, I wonder where do you think he is?
I don't know.
Did he get DFA'd to AAA? Is he, or did he go all the way down to Altoona?
I was surprised to see that they did let him go when I didn't think he was doing a bad job. But you know what? I'll take Hannah Mears. What the heck?
Yeah. Tough to argue that. Speaking of Livy Dunn, why don't they show her at games? I think MLB is just silly, and they're missing an opportunity here to get ratings. I mean, when the NFL looks at Taylor Swift's schedule while thinking out the schedule for their year, and the Pirates of Major League Baseball don't even show a young blonde.
Yeah, I got to tell you, let me talk about this Taylor Swift thing for just a second. I really do believe this whole thing is a fabricated relationship. Brian, what's the chances?
You're such a conspiracy theorist.
I am such a conspiracy theorist.
Well, that's why I like you.
What's the chances that Taylor Swift is going with somebody that's on the Chiefs? It's the team they're the new Patriots basically. They're the top team. They have the top players. She dates the handsome. It just, to me, it seems very put together.
Is she if you dig deep into conspiracies, they're like. Some people believe that the elite are like lizard people. Is she like one of those lizard people?
You know what? I don't want to get too deep into conspiracy theories, but that McVeigh, her dad or husband was that Anton McVeigh. He was the founder of the Satanist Church. You know what? You don't have to trust me. Go online right now and look at pictures of her.
I'm going to go online at 6:01.
Please do, and put the picture right next to Taylor Swift. I know there's people listening right now that are thinking this dude is crazy. Her last name is McVeigh. Put it right next to Swift's picture. These chicks are almost identical. The only reason it looks different is because the older person the picture looks a lot older, but they look very similar. I check it out for yourself, guys.
Interesting. This is not just a sports show. We can get into some deep conspiracies on lizard people on the planet. Good Lord. Well, I do want to ask you a question about Paul Skeens and Mitch Keller whenever we come back from break, if that's all right with you, Ryan.
Absolutely, man.
All right, we'll get into that as soon as we come back from break. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM.
Has your classic car or hot rod seen better days? Just call me, Dave Rodenbaugh, and my team at the Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company. The full-service hot rod shop offers it all. Everything from custom fabrication and restoration to regular maintenance and collision repair. With over 40 years of experience, there isn't a job too big or too small. The Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company's enclosed trailer service ensures safe transit for your ride during any season. The Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company is located at 6th Street in Beaver Falls. Visit pahotrod.com or call 412-719-4950.
Hey, can you imagine trying to hit a fastball or throwing a runner out at home? It's hard to think of doing these things under perfect circumstances, let alone with the distraction and discomfort of dental issues. Regular dental care from Dr. C. Timothy Lip can improve your productivity, happiness, and focus, even if you're not in the big leagues. Dental problems affect more than just your teeth. Visit lipdentistry.com or Dr. C. Timothy Lip Family Dental Offices on College Hill and Robinson Township.
One of the greatest honors a person can receive is to be gathered with their people at the time of their passing. Even biblical authors, when they wanted to explain what it meant to have lived a great, prosperous, and meaningful life, spoke of the individual as having lived a long time and being gathered with friends and relatives near as they closed out their twilight years. Being gathered together with loved ones is something that the J&J Spratt Funeral Home takes very seriously as well. The comfort both given and received cannot be underestimated. J&J Spratt Funeral Home also knows that the honor shown to a loved one at their time of need in this manner is still the right thing to do today. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has been gathering together with area families for 4 generations and looks forward to honoring future residents deserving of being gathered together with friends and family. Click jjsprattfh.com.
Beaver County Radio proudly welcomes Fry Transportation to their family. You're listening to 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, live from the all-new Fry Transportation Studios.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garzunas. He's ready to take your calls at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. Also, make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing, replacement windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is your one-stop shop for all of your exterior modeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008.
Let me ask you this real quick, Brian. Now, do you remember Josh Bell? He was here in Pittsburgh. He now plays for
He had
Miami,
like one of the
possibly.
greatest few months out of like Pirates history.
Now, let me ask you this. We were talking a little bit about Rowdy Tellez, a little bit about, what we may or may not do at the trade deadline, as you're approaching the playoff time. Would you, at this point, if you are the office of, the Pittsburgh Pirates, would you get rid of Rowdy Tellez if you could bring in Josh Bell? Or
Did you say Chris Archer or Josh Bell?
But
my microphone or my ear pieces weren't in.
But that think of what you got so far from Tellez. Think of what you're getting now.
He's playing well now. It's tough to want to get rid of him now. And I don't know what Josh Bell's been doing.
Not fantastic.
Yeah, because
because that was speculation when Tellez was doing horrible about a month ago. People started saying, "Man, we should try to get Bell back because he's playing in Miami and they stink."
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. No. If you're going to get a first baseman, get somebody that's going to bat 280 with some power.
Yeah.
And the only way you're going to get that is a rental. You're not going to get somebody that you're going to have for a few years. I don't know if Bell would be a rental or not, but no, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. So you're pretty content with the Tellez situation. I mean, like you said,
he made a nice play down the line at first base today.
He sure
probably
did.
Saved a double or triple.
What about the lack of hustle on the double that he had, though, where the ball hit the top of the wall, bounce? He should have been in second easily, but they almost gunned him. I mean, the ball's bouncing around in the outfield for 30 seconds before they picked it up. He just gets to second base on time. That was one of the complaints I saw.
Nothing drove my coaches growing up more than the lack of hustle and effort you swing and you miss and whatever, they'll tell you to keep swinging. But if you hit the ball and you're looking at it or you're jogging down to first, I mean, my coach would have me running laps. I mean, obviously they're not going to do that at this stage in their career, but yeah, as soon as you swing it, you're running down the first base line and you're looking at the first base coach to see if you're running through the bag or if you're making the turn or going to second.
Absolutely.
Where's
your mind that you're not hustling down to first base? You know what I mean? What does that say about the ball player? You know what I mean?
Some of them do it right now. Like, okay. It drives me crazy. And I get surprised when it actually doesn't happen. But fly balls, especially like lazy ones where they're under it, they kind of trot to it. They don't hustle.
Right.
And they kind of like just catch it with just their glove. Why can't you catch it with two hands? Two hands.
Well, they need the other hand to count all that money. I mean, when we were kids, we would use both hands. We didn't have all that money, obviously.
I'd be lucky if I can go get some bazooka gum up at the local 7-Eleven.
What was your favorite, Brian? What was your favorite after the baseball games when you were a kid? You get to go get your food at the concession stand after the game.
Yes.
I can specifically remember 30 years later, plus what mine was. I liked these hot dogs that had nacho cheese on top. It was like the liquid cheese. Do you happen to recall what your favorite was as a kid?
I remember I liked Cherokee Red Pop.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And, usually probably like a pizza or maybe you get the nachos. But, yeah, if you got the hot dog, the nacho cheese melted on top was definitely it. I didn't like toppings at that point in time. I was like kind of like a picky
plain
eater.
guy,
Yeah. So either I wanted a hot dog plain, which I didn't really want, so throw that melted nacho cheese on there.
Absolutely. I was thinking that the other day. I thought, wow, that used to be my thing. I used to love that.
And some purple Big League chewing gum.
Yes.
Purple. I don't know if it was grape, but it was purple. The flavor was purple.
It tasted purple. Absolutely.
It did.
Yes.
So I presented you with a question that I didn't even ask before the break, but the All-Star game.
Do I know about this question?
No.
Okay.
The All-Star game.
Yes.
Who's making it and who do you want to make it? Two different questions.
For the Pirates?
Yes. Who's going to make it?
I think Mitch Keller goes.
It's a shame he didn't get the win today.
I know. 7
innings, no runs, and still on 8 wins.
That's as good as a game as you could pitch. I think Mitch Keller is the guy because think about the major leagues. Once you become that guy, it's hard to not be that guy anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Especially when you don't have anybody on your team that's going to make it from the field.
He's almost the all-star by default. I say Paul Skeens is going to go.
Yes.
We still have a whole another month. People might say, he didn't play all season. He played a lot now. I mean, and plus you're going to add a whole another 3.5 weeks onto that.
And all those more strikeouts.
Right. At a record pace. So I think Paul Skeens is probably going to go. And what you got to remember, too, is fans vote. And not only Pittsburgh people are excited about Paul Skeens, people all around this country are tuning in to see this guy.
Is he a story outside of this city?
He is. Well, you got to remember our rival St. Louis, they gave him a standing ovation. I mean, you don't see that. It's like, okay, look at it this way. The Cardinals are one of these franchises in baseball that they're always kind of one of these in teams. If the Steelers had somebody that came and did something super amazing in our field, would we cheer them all? Would we stand up and give them an ovation? I don't think so. Say Ray Lewis came here in the early 2000s and had 19 tackles in one game.
Was this before or after he murdered that person allegedly?
Well, it would have been after.
Okay.
That's when he sold his soul and became the Ray Lewis that we know and love. But if he would have came into Pittsburgh and got 19 tackles in a game, would Steeler Nation stood up and gave him an ovation? Exactly. I do believe that the baseball world is falling in love with Paul Skeens, and how can you not?
2.29 ERA, and I think he has 53 strikeouts already. I believe Jones and Keller have 85, but obviously they pitched many more games than him.
He got the splinker.
The splinker.
He got the splinker.
I don't know. Supposedly Jones is going to try it out in the offseason.
I want to see Jones get a little bit of a break right now. I'm going to tell you.
That's what I was talking to my dad about. I said, why don't they just skip? My dad's like, yeah, they should skip him for a start. Maybe it's just needs a reset.
Yeah. And how injured are these other pitchers? The the Gonzalez and Perez. Jeez, oh man.
I don't know what's going on with them. And then I see some news here. Mike Burrows, our top pitching prospect, he is set to start pitching again in AAA in June. He had Tommy John at the beginning of last season. There's Brayton Ashcroft.
Yeah.
He's doing – it's like – Bring that guy up. I mean, obviously you can't bring up Burrows yet, but
As always, we have pretty good minor league prospects, players. That's always been the case. They just generally get plucked from our system by the bigger, teams. Let's try to win. Let's try to pay guys. Let's try to be a good baseball team. If that, in fact, happens, I think that we could make some things happen here in Pittsburgh. But at what point is this team going to turn into the Pirates that we've seen for 27 of the last 30 years?
All it takes is to like get swept twice.
Yeah.
I mean, you keep wanting to see them go on a run where they win 7 out of 10
Yes,
even.
which I think they need to do at some point.
You win 7 out of 9. Let's say you get a sweep and you win 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
But they could just as easily, lose 8 out of 10.
Can. They sure can. And it's so hard to put a finger on why in the world this team just can't bring it together in some of those areas. It's mind-blowing.
I'm not a big fan of the manager.
And neither am I. I don't hate him, but I'm not a big fan either.
I hated, what the heck was his name?
You hated Hurdle, didn't you?
Clint Hurdle.
See, I liked Hurdle.
Oh, he was the worst.
Well, listen, his results are what I liked. I liked the fact that this team made the playoffs 3 years in a row. I liked the fact that this team had a 94-win season. These things did not happen in any of those other years with this Pirates team. So, I mean, for those reasons, I liked him. His philosophy, maybe a couple other things about him, I wasn't so favorable. But what he got done, he also took a Colorado Rockies team, won 17 out of 21 games to finish a season one year to take a Rockies team to the World Series. The Rockies? So I like the work that he does, but there are some things, as I said, that are not real favorable.
He started Sean Rodriguez at first base in a play-in game.
No,
that's how smart he is.
I'm not saying he's a genius. I'm just saying for whatever reason, this team was winning ball games when he was there.
They were great. They had all of the people come up through the farm. They had McCutchen, who was an MVP candidate every season, and they had what's his name, Garrett Jones.
Oh,
and
yeah,
and then they brought in Lariano and what the heck's Cervelli and actual stud guys.
Russell Martin.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on, that dude. And
AJ Burnett. We haven't seen that yet. We have Aronis Chapman, who's
right
at the end of his career. I don't know if this is his last season. He might be able to pitch a couple more. I have no idea. But we haven't brought in those two guys
right
to make this an actual playoff team.
And you got to remember also that
Trevor Bauer,
you and that Bauer.
Although the pitching isn't the problem,
right.
So I mean, how much better could it get?
And also we were buyers that year, the first year back in 2013 when we went to the play-in game and beat the Reds. We were buyers when we brought in Marlon Byrd. We were was it Byrd? Marlon. Yeah, Bird.
Yeah,
we were buyers. We brought in Justin Morneau from Minnesota. So they seemed to be doing all the right things at that time.
Yes.
They need to get back to that where they do all the right things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. You want to get your hopes up, but we've been down this road time and time again. Yeah. It's really tough to believe in them. It's like you see it with your eyes, but do you really believe it?
Right. Think of who else, Brian. They had Sterling Marte who came up. They had Gregory.
The juice is loose.
Gregory Polanco came up through the system. I mean, we did. I mean, that was a well put together team, and it was no wonder they won a lot of games.
And, well, here's when they started winning. Whenever they benched McHenry. That's when because they were up and coming in 13 and 14. They were there, and then they fell off in the last 4 to 6 weeks both seasons. Maybe they just ran out of steam, and then they got rid of Michael McHenry as their starting catcher.
You're just mad because he couldn't apply that 19th inning tag against Atlanta for the save that game.
He did.
I know he did.
I know the umpiring. While we're on that. Last night, and I heard this on another channel, last night, the Colorado Rockies were up 5 runs. I don't know if it was the 8th or the 9th inning against the Dodgers. And somebody hits a 4-run home run for the Dodgers to make it a 1-run game. And there's 2 strikes on with 1 guy out. And I don't know who was pitching for the Rockies, but he throws the ball. And it was a check swing. And the Dodger guy went around, but the umpires blew the call. They said it was a check swing. He held back. Next pitch, 2-run homer. The Rockies lose because of the umpires.
That doesn't surprise me. I think that the umpiring in this baseball league is gotten so bad. And I don't know if it's because, as you were saying earlier off the air, we can see the box when you're watching pitchers pitch. Is that why they seem like they're getting worse? But to me, I believe overall these umpires are really bad anymore in the majors.
They are. I don't know if it's because the guys are throwing harder, too. I mean, if they're throwing at 10, 15 miles an hour faster, like every guy. I mean, not, there was guys back then that did it, but it wasn't every guy.
Right.
Maybe that's it. But they blow calls in the field all the time, too.
I know.
All right, we'll get into some more sports when we come back from the break. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM.
Start your day with breakfast at McDonald's. Enjoy their 2 for $3 mix and match breakfast special. Whether you're on your way to work or on your way to school, McDonald's has the right breakfast for you. McDonald's breakfast. I'm loving it.
Whether it's Little League or the big leagues, it's time to get out and play ball. Friendly Federal Credit Union reminds you that every team looks forward to playing at home in front of a live crowd. Seeing loyal fans can help any player feel more comfortable. Just like a home game in baseball, Friendly Federal Credit Union always has friendly faces to help and cheer you on at the teller window. Now get out of that dugout and in front of your cheering section. The personal live tellers at Friendly Federal Credit Union.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas. For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the best of Beaver County. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. Archived Best of Beaver County videos can be viewed on the WBVP WMBA Facebook page. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. He's ready to take your calls at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. Also, make sure to check us out on Beaver County Radio, Facebook Live, and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing, replacement windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is your one-stop shop for all of your exterior modeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. Around the world in sports we go, Ryan, round and round.
What do we got next?
I mean, we're going to go to, what the heck is the name of the town that Notre Dame's in?
South Bend,
South
Indiana.
Bend. We start out in South Bend.
Okay.
You know where I'm going with this, right?
I have no clue. You lead the way.
Ike Taylor, Plaxico Burress, Jerome Bettis. What do their 3 kids all have in common?
What is that?
They are. He's being I don't know. He's playing dumb here, ladies and gentlemen. They are all attending Notre Dame. All of their sons.
You know, I really think these kind of situations are interesting. I think this one's exceptionally interesting because they're all, kids of the Steelers. But, these guys became our heroes. They became our favorite football players. Jerome Bettis, Ike Taylor, in some cases, Plaxico Burress. But to see if they can live up to that standard, a lot of times they can't. Sometimes they do. I like to watch this pattern in sports a lot of times. Bronny James is one that is, I don't think, certainly going to be anywhere near as good as LeBron.
They now have him listed as 5'11". He's gone from 6'4" all the way down to 5'11" now at this point.
He's going to be 3.5 feet tall by the time he gets in the league. But I certainly like to watch these situations. I like to watch the kids. You can always say Brian Hayes. His dad, Charlie Hayes, played for the Pirates. There's always somebody that I think that it's interesting to watch if they lived up to the standard, if they didn't live up to the standard. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun with all 3 of them gentlemen going to Notre Dame this fall.
There are 3 things on the field that I remember about all 3 of those guys.
Okay.
One each. Let's see if their kids could live up to it.
I tell you what, I do too. So let's both. We'll
go Bettis first.
Okay, so Jerome Bettis.
What do you remember most?
My memory is Jerome. I mean, of course, I have millions of memories of the bus.
I have one,
but
I have a million. But
do you want a good or do you want the bad or the ugly?
The memory.
I think him running over Brian Urlacher is something that certainly will be something most people will remember for a long time.
I have the fumble going into the end zone versus the Colts.
That's where my ugly was going to be, yes.
Now, Plexico Burress.
Him catching the ball in the middle of the field against Jacksonville, standing up, spiking the ball without ever being touched, and it being a fumble.
Yes, that is even. How do you shoot yourself in the foot, and then we still remember the spike during in between the hashes?
Yes, it was right in the middle of the field.
Plexico, we still like you. And Ike Taylor.
My one. Listen to this. Something really stands out in my mind. It's when we were playing a meaningful game. It may have been Baltimore in the playoffs, but Ike Taylor had the terrible towel over his face, like he was like a bank robber or something. I'll never get that image out of my face for the rest of my life.
Like he was going to rob a train out in the Wild West?
That's what it, yes. That moment is burned in my mind.
Tim Tebow.
The play, 80 yards.
80 yards, first play in the extra innings. Why are those the three things I remember about all? One, fumbling. I mean, he Hall of Fame career. Plexico Burress had a really, really nice career. Ended up going up and playing with Eli Manning and having a nice career up with the Giants, shooting himself in the foot out in a nightclub, whatever.
Super Bowl.
And Ike Taylor, I mean, outside of his stone hands, he was one heck of a cornerback. And why are those my three memories?
You know what? Ike Taylor was a great shutdown corner. There's no two ways about it. If he would have had hands, he would have certainly been in the All-Pro game and, obviously gotten a lot more attention. Plexico Burress, I mean, come on. The guy did so many bonehead things. I mean, this is what you're dealing with. But again, at the end of the day, he was a 6'4" receiver. That's always a plus.
I think he was 6'6".
6'6".
Yes.
And then Bussy, that's, come on. What can you say about Bussy?
What were the Rams thinking with Jerome Bettis?
He was a cancer in the locker room. They said he's bad for the team. They said they just didn't want him around. They said, and you know what?
All the guy does is smile.
Yeah, I can't imagine what was going on down there.
Yeah. Well. Let's move around. We are going to move to Boston. Boston. The Celtics win.
Oh, yeah.
The Celtics win the NBA championship 4-1 over the Dallas Mavericks. It was by far and away the most boring Eastern Conference playoffs. They played no teams with 50 wins or above. Every team they played, everybody was hurt, and the teams that should have been competitive with them, the Bucks with and Giannis, we'll just say, and he was hurt. What was the guy they got from Portland that came over? Damian Lillard.
Yes.
Dame time.
Yeah.
He got hurt. Then their nemesis, who always beats them up, even if they're the last seed, the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, was hurt. So it was like the easiest path to the NBA Finals. And then there's Dallas, the 5 seed. They beat the 4, they beat the 2, they beat the 1.
Right.
They beat the toughest teams, and then they just stunk.
Who do you think was the best team in the NBA this year? I mean, obviously, from what you're saying, I could tell you don't think it was Boston. Who do you feel was the best team and you would have been satisfied seeing winning it?
It might have been Boston. It's a real group effort with them.
Yeah.
I mean, the Minnesota Timberwolves were very good, but they lost to Dallas. I mean, 2 people beat them. The Celtics didn't let 2 people beat them, although Kyrie Irving really stunk 3.5 out of those 5 games they played.
Yeah, he sure did. I mean, what happened when it was LeBron and Kyrie? I don't think they were able to get it done either, were they? So if Kyrie is the other guy, that doesn't...
They got it done.
Did they win their championship?
So here's what happened. In 2015,
was it Cleveland?
LeBron goes back to Cleveland, teams up with Kyrie. They're down. It's a tie game with like 12 seconds left. LeBron has the ball. And instead of just driving to the hole, getting a foul, or getting a layup, and winning the game 1 against Golden State, he shoots some brick 3, and they end up going to extra innings. During the extra innings, Kyrie gets hurt.
Oh, that's right.
And was out for the rest of the season. The Cavs ended up, the Warriors won that game. The Cavs ended up winning the next 2. If Kyrie would have been there, they would have been up 3-0 on. There's no way they're losing that.
Yeah.
Then in 2016, the Cavaliers were down 3-1 to the Warriors, and Draymond Green punched LeBron in the lower region and got suspended for the game, and then they ended up not scoring any points in Game 7 at the final 5 minutes, and Kyrie hit the game winner.
Well, you know why they won it all was because they had Kevin Love.
Kevin Love, he was awesome.
He was my guy. I liked him, man.
He averaged like 15 rebounds and like 28 points the season before joining that team.
Yeah.
Like that, you add that as your third option. I mean,
right. He's a good third option.
Yeah. So they did get it done. The Celtics have 18 champions. I know you had a trivia question on the two dumb Yinzers about a week and a half ago, and I thought I was counting the Celtics, and I'm like, I know they got like 8 with Russell.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, then they got 3 with Bird. They got 1 with Garnett. And I'm like, so my guess was around 12 or 13 championships, but they had 17 going into this one. And I don't know, that must have been prior to Bill Russell. I don't know. But anyway, the Celtics have 18 championships now. The Lakers have 17, and the Pittsburgh nobodies have 0 because we don't have an NBA team here because nobody in the city likes the NBA.
I gotta tell you though, I mean that's very interesting too, because the Lakers and the Celtics was such a big rivalry, and it's crazy how that never went away. And here you are, all these years later, after Bill Russell, after Bird versus Magic, after all these teams that both of these cities put out, here they are, 18. What the 17
for the Lakers
and 16,
and 18 for the Celtics.
That's amazing. You know, that's if you're into sports, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, speaking of basketball, we'll blow through this here real quick. Okay, going to the Olympics in Paris for the United States men's basketball team. Now, listen to how dumb this list is. This is the dumbest thing I've seen in a while, and I don't know who made this list, but I'm reading it. And typically, when you read a list, they have it alphabetically, correct?
Generally
by their last name, right?
Yes.
This list is alphabetically with their first names. It's so odd. So we have Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Bam Adebayo, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, Drew Holiday, Kawhi Leonard, which I thought he was hurt, so I don't know how he's playing, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Tyrese Halliburton. That is your team. And the women's team still does not have Caitlin Clark on it.
I got 2 comments about the guys' team. I thought that Leonard, how old is this guy? He was on the Tim Duncan Spurs teams winning championships.
He was a rookie in 2013.
Okay. It seems like, boy, he's been around for a while.
Yeah, he's up there. Well, everybody's old. I mean, you have like Bam Adebayo, Anthony Edwards, Tatum's starting to get into his prime. They're all old.
And I think that my second observation was this. The odd way that they were listed in alphabetical order with their first names, but it's on your paper that you wrote it in your own handwriting. Is this something that you did, or did you copy it from a page that was...
Okay, so when I prepare for the show, if I find a list, I don't just like screenshot it and like pull it up and like look through my phone, which would probably be the smart thing to do. I'm just like, I wouldn't be that quick. I'd be like, it'd be just dead air, like while I'm like searching, like, oh no, there's a picture of like my niece, oh, there's me at my father's birthday, instead of like what I actually need. So I rewrite it.
Okay, all right.
And to not mess it up, I wrote it exactly how it was written.
All right. It was wild. You made the point, then you turned your paper, and I thought, wait a minute, did he write that?
Yeah. I'm making fun of whoever wrote that. Meanwhile, I wrote it.
We do got 2 minutes before the break, Brian. I want to make one more comment. I think that the fact that Caitlin Clark is not on this women's basketball team is insane. I think that she listen, she's doing more this season than Deanna Taurasi, who's in her 40s. Yes, Deanna's been around for a while. Yes, she's she's a seasoned veteran. But the fact of the matter is, number-wise, she's comparing to her. Deanna's on the team. Caitlin's not. Caitlin is the golden goose. She is going to draw in everything that you need: money, ratings, eyes. Everything that's going to come with Caitlin Clark is good for everything that's women's basketball. The fact that she's still being treated this way, I think, is crazy. I think it's jealousy. I think it's a bunch of different things. But I don't think there's any way you leave that woman off of that roster.
And for the same reason, I think Paul Skeens needs to be at the All-Star game. I mean, they both deserve it, obviously. Yeah. Clearly, Paul Skeens isn't getting the ratings that Caitlin Clark is. Nobody is. But, yeah, it's DUM.
Yeah. It really
no
is
B,
DUM. No,
but it's
no
DUM.
B. Right.
And it's just, you think, in government, it's like they have like the biggest Maronis running the most important things. And it just seems to be the same in this situation.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, we have this cash cow. I forget what I heard it on the radio on the way in here. There was some paper or magazine or whatever, and they were talking, they had some big article and this big cover of their magazine. And it said, WNBA ratings are way up, blah, 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 blah. And who do you think they have a picture of on there?
I'd imagine probably Angel Reese.
It was Angel Reese.
That's crazy.
Not Caitlin Clark.
Nobody cares about Angel Reese.
No.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know anybody.
The fake eyelash place that sells her eyelashes care about Angel Reese. So don't say nobody.
And that leg, the leg sleeve.
Yes, the leg sleeve. That's your favorite. The
That
left
is.
leg? Left leg?
That's right.
All right. Well, we're going to talk some more sports when we come back. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 and 1230 AM.
Everyone at Moon Township Ford is looking forward to the Beaver County Boom Saturday, June 29th. Moon Township Ford is the presenting sponsor of this exciting event broadcast, and just like the explosion of colors you'll be seeing, Moon Township Ford is exploding with special financing and financing just in time for all your summer activities. They know that for families who like to travel and vacation, the Ford F-150 truck is the vehicle for you. No matter where your summer vacation takes you, you can be sure that a Ford F-150 from Moon Township Ford will make your adventure much more fun. No wonder that it's the most popular vehicle sold in the U.S. Ford's F-150 is the quintessential American truck to celebrate all of the summer holidays. Get going now to Moon Township Ford showroom on University Boulevard across from Robert Morris, where they're celebrating summer savings and proudly presenting the Beaver County Boom broadcast on Beaver County Radio.
Delconi's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
With the price of just about everything going up, there's only one thing to do, and that's buy a car from the Beaver Valley Auto Mall. If you're driving an older gas-guzzling clunker by trading up to one of several vehicles in stock rated in over estimated 30, and in some cases 40 miles per gallon on a highway, the savings in how much you're currently spending on gas will go a long way towards paying for your next car. You almost can't afford not to buy a car right now. Depending on what car you buy and how many miles you drive, you can put hundreds of dollars in your pocket based on the fuel cost savings. Start clicking your way to that next vehicle right now with a visit to BeaverValleyCars.com. There are cars, trucks, and SUVs to look at, and most have the gas mileage listed. Pick one out and then visit Beaver Valley Auto Mall in Center Township.
Cruising season is here. For some of you, that means shining up the car and heading down the highway. For others, it might mean grabbing the wheel on the other side of your vessel and cruising the local waterways in your boat. Yet there are some of you, the cruise season means letting somebody else do the driving while you enjoy all-you-can-eat buffets on a luxury liner at sea. This is Andy Dengel from Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Well, whatever floats your boat. Freedom United Federal Credit Union can get you cruising sooner than you think with easy term auto, recreational vehicle, and vacation loan programs. Put things on cruise control. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union today and let the fun begin tomorrow. Loans are based on credit approval. Visit freedomunitedfcu.com for rates and details. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
It's hard to even put a title on what Tom Young at First Consultants in Beaver does. Calling him a financial planner or an insurance salesman or even a life coach still doesn't accurately describe the experience. That's because he brings dreams back to life or puts life back into retirement.
My job is to create in you the vision of the you that I think you can be, the place that I think you can get to. And you know what? I get frustrated because I see more greatness in people than they see in themselves. I see greater financial futures than they see in themselves. Most people don't believe they can get there.
Find out more by visiting firstconsultantsinc.com or engage in Tom Young's live simulcast presentation on the third Tuesday of each month beginning at 9:10 a.m. on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live. All advisory services are offered through PL Wealth LLC. PL Wealth is a federally registered investment advisor. PL Wealth is in no way affiliated with First Consultants Inc., nor is First Consultants Inc. a registered investment advisor.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. He's ready to take your calls at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. Also, make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing replacement, windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is your one-stop shop for all of your exterior modeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. You took the music the whole way there.
I did. You like that?
I do. In the opening, you were like toning it down and fading it away.
Yeah.
And then like I was still going and it was off at the very end. But all right. So the Pirates win. The Pirates win 1-0 today. We announced a couple things with the NBA, but I did want to get into the NHL. The Florida Panthers were up 3-0 in the finals, the Stanley Cup Finals, on the Edmonton Oilers, and the Oilers have come roaring back to force a Game 6 on Friday night at 8 o'clock. Ryan, what are your thoughts here? Can the Oilers, the evil ones from up north, can they pull it off to our southern friends down in Florida?
Yeah, I think they could absolutely pull it off. I believe that they're the better hockey team. At the end of the day, I think that they have just more star power. That Edmonton team would have been the team that I would have picked before the finals had started. Florida, again, this was a team just last year. They got in because we couldn't beat a team to get in. They made it all the way to the finals. They come back this year. They're back in the finals. I could just see them falling again. And again, I could see Edmonton making the comeback and winning. However, at the end of the day, either team could still win this, Brian. But I think, yes, Edmonton certainly can.
Connor McDavid is, I believe, 4 points away from setting the all-time playoff record in most points. Is he the finals MVP? What do they call that? The Conn Smythe?
Yeah, he could very well be.
I mean, win or lose.
Yeah, you're right.
Especially if it goes to Game 7 and, it's a tie and he makes whatever. I don't know. I mean, he's so good.
He is that good. That's the thing. A lot of people, whether they don't follow hockey or they just don't know, Connor, he is that good. He is that. He's going to be the Sidney, the Crosby, one of these big names that you're going to hear for the next 10 years easy.
It's just, I mean, Canada probably loves it, but it's just a shame he's not in a major market,
Yeah.
He's up there in the Northwest, up by almost by it's pretty close to Alaska. It's how far away it is.
Yes.
I mean, it's really bad.
I think you made the point last week on your show that Florida, Miami, where the Panthers are from, and the distance all the way up to Edmonton is freakishly long. I mean, that's probably
it was well over 2,000 miles to Edmonton from Brighton Township Police Station.
Yeah,
and it was like 1,100 miles to Florida, like outside of Fort Lauderdale,
that
Miami area.
Has to be one of the longest trips in pro sports.
Right. I don't know. The Eagles are going to Brazil. I don't know how far that is.
Yeah, that's true. That's a distance.
It is. What about some local news, Ryan? What do we got going on locally?
We have the Penn, Ohio high school football game. They play in every June. Last year, as a matter of fact, was a really good game. Both teams were tied at 30 going into the half. Pennsylvania pulls away, wins 47-30 in a pretty classic game in Ohio. Tomorrow, they are back at it. It's in Geneva College, Reeves Field in Beaver Falls, if you want to get a chance. But we are going to be we'll have it right here on WBVP. I like this game.
What time's that?
I believe 7 o'clock. I could be mistaken, but I think at this moment I think it's right around 7.
All right, before we go, we'll double check that and re-announce the time. All right, so do we have a lot of guys from Philadelphia?
No. I mean, there's people from all around the state, but a lot of people, we got a lot of guys here in Western PA.
Yeah, I figured that much. I just didn't know how many, I mean, Philadelphia is so populated. It's just it's ridiculous.
We did. This Penn team did just recently beat up Maryland, and I'm ready for the Ohio. I'm ready for this Ohio team. And
now, all time, you gave some stats on your live cast today,
Yes.
on the Two Dumb Yinzers live cast on
Yes.
YouTube today. I believe you're on from like 11 o'clock sharp till noon.
Yes.
It's never on at 11 o'clock sharp. I think it was once when you had on the
part of the
Steeler, the
lore.
ex-Steeler.
Tim Worley.
When you had Tim Worley on, you were like, it was like the only time it started at 11. I'm like, okay, they have Worley lined up, so they're going to start on time.
It's a part of the lore. Yes, no, but I think where you were going about was with the overall record.
Yeah. What you the Pennsylvania versus Ohio? What's the all-time
PA
record?
Pennsylvania has 29 wins and Ohio has 14 wins. So
Gotcha.
But they've been really good games. There was, I think, 4 years in a row that Ohio did beat us, and so it's always a great game. And you always love it when they play here at home, because a lot of times it is in Beaver Falls, which is right in our backyard, and you can check it out. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be there because I'm going to be working, but I encourage a lot of people to go check them out. It's a great game.
Nice. Well, what do we have? Like 4 or 5 minutes left here?
We do, yeah.
Well, we didn't talk about the Steelers yet today, did we?
We did not. They cut a couple players today.
I don't know. Who did they cut?
The receiver Mims, and I think also Trent Thompson, the guy that he managed to get an interception last year. He played in our secondary. Trenton Thompson, he had a nice preseason. I think they cut him, and then Mims, the receiver.
Okay. So have you heard anything? I guess the Ayuk situation's not going away. I mean, I guess he said, listen, I was listening to some terrible sports talk station today, and
Yeah.
I just
was it at 11 sharp?
No, yours is great. And I just feel so dirty for listening to it, because it's so absolutely pathetic. It's poor, and I don't know. They were talking about Michael Jordan and like his potential kids that are playing in the NBA, and then they were like, is Brandon Ayuk Mike Tomlin's kid?
Oh my God.
That was their topic, and they were like dead serious about it.
I think that we still are in the running for Brandon Ayuk, and I think that some of the comments that you're probably speaking of that I also saw this week is he feels that it's not going to be San Francisco, and if it's not going to be San Francisco, then who? And at the top of that list is two teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Washington Commanders seem to be the front runners.
Who the heck's their quarterback?
It was Sam Howell.
Right, didn't they draft somebody?
They drafted somebody. I can't think.
It was
who
like in the
is.
top 10. I want to say, yeah. Okay,
But,
whatever.
That's still.
I can't get over their stupid name.
You know
Just
what?
be the Washington football team.
I agree. You know what? I'm not even against the Redskins. I think.
Well, I'm not either.
Right.
But first off, the Pittsburgh Pirates AAA affiliate is the Indianapolis Indians.
Yes.
But Cleveland can't be the Indians anymore. It doesn't make any sense.
You know what? I made a point. Look at the teams that changed their name. Who were they? The Cleveland Guardians and the Washington Commanders. Look at the two that didn't. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Atlanta Braves. Two are always successful. They left their name alone. Two always stink. They changed. I mean, whatever.
Whatever, Cleveland.
That has nothing to do with anything, but you know what I'm saying.
It really doesn't, but it does. It does. So, I mean, we need him, right?
We could certainly use him, yeah. I mean,
who do you? Let's just say, what the heck's our receiver's name?
George Pickens.
Pickens.
Yeah.
Yes. Why? What if he gets hurt? Twist an ankle,
which
Then
could very easily happen.
Then what do you do?
Yeah. I mean, it's a guy that's going to be getting the ball. He's a guy that's going to be getting hit. He's going to be a guy that's going to be very susceptible to injury. I couldn't agree with you more.
So, okay, let's just say George Pickens gets hurt, and we don't have any receivers to go to.
Right.
Remember how they were loading the box for Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky over the past couple of years because we didn't have a passing game?
Absolutely.
And Russell Wilson is known for taking sacks.
Yeah.
I just think it could spell trouble. I mean, you really need to have a number one, a number two, and a number three. And if one of those go down, you got to hope that the number three can at least be a number two for a few games.
And one other interesting thing, Brian, I might have even been last week on the show. The receivers that we do have, the Van Jeffersons, the Quez, all those guys, the three of those receivers they had about a half of the statistics that Deontay Johnson put up last year, who didn't have a really good season. He only went for about 750 yards.
I think 4 TDs. These 3 or 4 guys they brought only had half of the production that he had. So how many yards did you say? Deontay had 700 change.
700, 800, right around that ballpark.
And 150. He was probably close to 1,000 if you count the backwards yards.
I'm not going to miss that at all. Believe me, I am not going to miss that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. It was a good show.
Absolutely. We covered a lot today. You know what? As far as Pittsburgh goes, there's a lot of things going on right now. Big things. The mustache, of course. Everyone is loving the mustache. And
when does he pitch?
It should be against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Because he pitched Monday.
I think we have like a bullpen, maybe. They delayed. He was supposed to pitch Sunday, and he pitched Monday, and he went out and did phenomenal. So I'm okay with like giving the other guys a little bit of rest. So
you know what? To me, it seems that he's going to be near the end of the Tampa Bay series. But again, hopefully they give Jared Jones a little bit of a break, so that if they see what we see, maybe they'll do that, and that might change the rotation up a little bit.
All right. Well, Ryan, thank you very much for being the best producer this side of the Mississippi. That's Ryan Garazunas. I'm Bryan Pasquale. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We will see you back here in 167 hours.
You've been listening to One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale on Beaver County Radio. Don't forget, you can watch the show on WBVP-WMBA Facebook page anytime. Tune in next Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for One Man.